Hello and welcome to another episode of Inside Manufacturing, hosted by us at Sandvik Coromant. I'm so happy that you're taking the time of your valuable time to join us today. It is a lovely day. We're live from Sandviken. It's what we in Sweden call April weather, so that means that it's snowing actually today. We are indoors here at the headquarters of Sandvik Coromant for the episode Inside Manufacturing, focusing on digital machining. My name is Ann Björk and I work with press and PR at Sandvik Coromant, but today I have the great pleasure to moderate this event together with the one and only Claes Nord.
Thank you, Ann. And my name is Claes Nord, and I'm a visitor experience specialist, normally taking care of you when you come and visit us. But due to the pandemic, I'm virtual, so here I am. Super excited about the next 45 minutes. But first things first, let's start with safety. At Sandvik Coromant, safety has top priority. Please note your nearest emergency exit, assembly point, fire extinguisher, all these things that should be in place. Because I know that some of you are actually watching from home. If you would be at the office, everything would be crystal clear. But when you're at home, please also pay attention to your safety. We are in a very strange situation.
Indeed, unfortunately, we are very much living in a global pandemic. That means that I would like to advise you to make sure that you are following the local recommendations and guidelines when it comes to contributing to stopping the spread of the coronavirus. I also want to stress that all of us in the studio, we've just been tested for COVID-19 and all of us are negative. That means all of us in the studio here, but also everyone behind the camera. But of course, we're still keeping distance. Claes, we're doing it today, but we want interaction.
Absolutely. This event is for you. So please, the chat function is open. Send in your questions, comments, and so on. You can be totally anonymous. I'm slipping on my tongue now. But we really want, because at the end of this event, we will be doing a Q&A session. And during the morning event, it was quite tight with time. But send in the questions. If we don't have time to answer them, we will do that later. Having that said, let's go.
Let's go, and indeed, and I think a good way to actually go and to start this event is actually to start to map up the big trends. It's the area of digital machining, and there's so many things happening. So I've invited the Vice President for Business Development and Strategy at Sandvik Coromant, Magnus Ekbeck, to join us here to talk about the big picture. Hi, Magnus. How are you doing today?
Hey, Jan. I'm great, thank you. And you?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk about this area about digital machining. And one of the reasons why we've invited you is because you're working a lot with understanding the trends that are impacting us and the manufacturing industry as a whole. Tell us a bit, what have you spotted?
Well, it's correct. There's a lot of things going on, but I've selected 4 trends to mention and talk about a little bit here today.
Good.
The first trend is about the fact that the decision on what assets to use in machining, fixturing, tooling, methods, continues to move up in the value chain, and we see those decisions being made more and more in design and planning. So that's something that's been going on and continues. But the second trend is about the fact that many of our customers' operations is becoming more advanced and complex, and we can't offer all the solutions ourselves anymore. We need to team up or partner with other suppliers or engage in ecosystems, as we talk about today, so that we can put together a more total offer, value-adding proposition to our customers. The third trend, which is more response to things, is what I call simplification. And you know, in our daily life today, we have an abundance of information around, and tech giants like Facebook, Google, Amazon, you know, they hammer us with information. And some of those expectations we're also bringing into work life. But ultimately, we need to make things easier rather than complicated. So we see a trend that we need to start to simplify and make the digital interactions between suppliers and customers as easy and smooth and intuitive as possible. Talking of that, I think the fourth trend is about information and data. More and more customers are starting to connect the machines and to create data points. And we see a trend that more and more customers also want to start to make use of that and start to implement artificial intelligence in the means of machine learning to start with.
So these are trends, and I think many of us, we can relate to them, both on a personal level, but very much also from a business point of view. I'm curious, would you see a lot of differences between different industry segments and even markets about how far they are on their digital journey?
Sure. We can't view the global discrete manufacturing body as one. We have differences. I think one way is if we view the customers from the type of production that they are performing. If they are in mass production, if they do batch production, or if they are machining really advanced and costly work pieces. The needs, but also the prerequisites and capabilities to benefit from digitalization is different. But there's also other factors. And another one to mention is, of course, what type of government investment that's been done into digitalization. We recently had the Hannover Messe, and this year, you know, due to the pandemic, it was virtual or digital for the first time. But if we roll the tape back about 5 years, in 2016, the Chancellor of Germany, Angela Merkel, and the President of the United States, Barack Obama, they opened the Hannover Messe jointly. And I think that was a clear manifestation of those two governments, that they are investing into programs to support Industry 4.0 and digital manufacturing.
So maybe it's a bit of a leading question, but I'm curious to understand, why do we in the manufacturing industry keep monitoring these trends and really, you know, adapting to them? Why is it that important?
The obvious answer is our customers. They see these trends and they want to benefit from it. And of course, we make business with a lot of leading customers, and they are looking for how they can benefit and implement this in their operations. And of course, we have ambition to be a leading company as well. So we want to team up with the right partners and co-develop these solutions going forward.
I think if we look from a personal point of view, you know, digitalization has impacted us a lot, and a lot related also to the corona pandemic. From a business point of view, how much would you say that the pandemic has impacted the acceleration of digitalization?
Interesting question. I saw this really good comic strip the other day, and the headline was, "Who drove digital transformation in your company?"
Good question.
Was it the CEO? No. Was it the CTO? No. Was it COVID-19? Yes. So I think we can also relate to our company. We were on a really growth path when it came to digital interactions with our customers prior to the pandemic. And then, of course, all of a sudden, you know, more or less overnight, we couldn't access our customers into the plants and the shop floors. So we really had to adopt and develop new ways to have the interaction. And I can see that, you know, many of these solutions will be something that stays, you know, one day when we can say that the pandemic is behind us.
So it's a step in the right direction.
Indeed.
Thank you very much, Magnus, for sharing the light on the bigger trends. You're staying for the Q&A session, so if you have any questions that you want to address to Magnus, please don't hesitate to send them in throughout the chat. But we've started now to paint a big picture and understand the trends. Let's focus a bit more on the details, and let's go to the Connected workshop. Claes Nord has left the studio, and he's in the Sandvik Coromant Center just a few meters away from here. So let's connect with Claes and Francis.
The Connected workshop. I did. Those of you that attended Inside Manufacturing 1, you know I'm all about digitalization. I'm really into the fourth industrial revolution. And with me today here I have one of my colleagues, Francis Richt. So let's speak a little bit more with Francis. Hi Francis, how are you?
I'm good, Claes.
Good. Before we start, please, what are you doing at Sandvik Coromant? What's your job?
Yeah, well, I'm heading up the digital machining business function here at Sandvik Coromant, where we manage Coroplus, our commercial offer, digital commercial offer.
And today we're going to talk about the Connected workshop.
Yes.
And we're going to explain, or actually you are going to explain what it means and how to start and so on.
Yes, yes. And you know, it all begins really with running a production unit successfully. You know, it all connects back to keeping track of your overall efficiency rates in production. You know, machine stoppages, what are they? And what do I do to get up that efficiency rate and keeping track of costs and so forth?
I really hate when the machine stops.
Yes.
I mean, that is so bad.
It is, it is. You know, and going back, you know, about a year ago, I visited a number of customers in North America, and they explained to me, you know, their challenges. And they all had one thing in common, and they were all tier 1 and tier 2 suppliers to larger OEMs within various industries like automotive and aerospace. And you know, I spoke to one of the production managers at one of these companies in a bit more in detail, and it was really interesting to see, you know, when he explained the challenges he was facing, you know, understanding the overall efficiency rates, the throughput time for work orders, meaning that they deliver in time to their customers, but also, you know, visualizing the workshop. You know, he said, you know, I got about 80 machines, and it's really difficult, you know, to get an overall view. Some machines were, you know, shining green lights, which was perfect.
Yep.
Something we've talked about for decades, right? The green light machining. Some were amber, and some were red. And you know, red is not always a problem, but the problem he had was that he didn't know the reason why that he had those machine stoppages. And he had to talk to, you know, in order to get that information, he had to walk around, talk to engineers, operators, and really dig down into those data points of what the reason was.
And those red lights are actually one of the reasons why we at Sandvik Coromant, in our 24 production units, connected the machines. I mean, we started that many years ago.
Exactly.
I mean, you don't want that red light.
You don't.
No.
You don't. That's definitely a problem. And it, you know, as he also explained, you know, those red lights minimizes throughput. It affects their economy. You know, it really throughput and the delivery time of the components again is affected. So it puts their company in danger. You know.
And I know that when we talk about digitalization, we always talk about KPIs and things like that. And I think actually you prepared a slide.
Yes, exactly.
So maybe you can explain a little bit more about the different KPIs and the metrics.
Yeah, they're just an example of some of the KPIs that a production unit needs to keep track of. You know, and it's about cost, it's about quality, lead times, and so forth, right? And you know, if you don't manage those KPIs, you're going to have some challenges making sure your company is efficient. So, but I mean, other than, you know, these KPIs, that cost and quality and so forth, it's all about also the challenges in the industry, looking at finding skilled people in order to be efficient, all the way from the beginning of setting up the process to executing the process in the machine shop.
And we actually have a slide on that as well.
Yes, exactly.
So, I mean, we're talking 4 main challenges.
Yeah, well, we've picked out a few of the most common ones that we've found from the dialogue with our customers that is a true pain point for them. You know, we're talking about cost, we're talking about quality, as I mentioned before, and then the reducing waste. I mean, there's a lot of waste from the beginning of setting up the processes to finding data, you know, research being done by the engineers setting up the processes, all the way down to the production unit where actually people are looking, you know, looking for tools. Where are my assemblies? Tracking where is my material for this work order and so forth. And the skills gap, again, is a problem. Finding skilled engineers and technicians to do that job.
But I mean, what are companies then doing to remain competitive? I mean, when it comes to cost, skills,
yes,
automation, and so on.
Yeah, exactly. And you mentioned one word, and it's a bit of the theme of this dialogue, and it's automation. So, you know, driving automation in some key areas will help to get rid of these pain points that we have observed and the industry has.
And I know when I talked about Inside Manufacturing 3, in Inside Manufacturing 2, I mentioned automation, and I said, no, it's not about robots.
Yes, no, exactly.
It's a different type of automation that we're going to talk about today.
Yes, exactly. And looking at, if we begin, you know, at the beginning, yep. If we start at the beginning, we've got the production preparation. Mm-hmm. Going back to some of the, you know, these customers I talked to, again, just as an example, they get a drawing in of a new job, mm-hmm. right? And here, engineers are looking, observing the different features of the component, trying to decide, okay, which machine should I use for this specific material? What process, what operation, what cutting tools, cutting data, all the details, in order to come up with an estimation of time, you know, the lead time, yep. Cycle times, and also the production cost. And any error here is going to affect their bottom line, right? And that's just the beginning. And then, you're out in the machine shop looking at automation through data collection in the actual processes there.
So, I mean, historically, when we were talking with you as a customer, we were talking about the tools in the machine shop, but now we are actually behind the scenes also.
Yes.
Yeah, so we also have digital tools.
Exactly. I mean, as a company, we've been very much working with helping and supporting our customers with the preparation, so to say, more manually and so. And now we're using digital software capabilities together with external partners as well in order to automate some of those customer jobs, yes.
So if I ought to start my digital journey and my connected workshop, how do I start?
Yeah.
What should I start with?
Yeah, exactly. And I think this also comes back to a theme that we've talked about for decades, and it's getting it right from the start. Spending, again, investing time in the beginning to get the process up and running according to the best practices in the industry. And there, one way we are working with that is by really taking and automating operation planning. So maybe we should take a look at one of the coming software solutions within Coroplus that really automates operation planning, takes a new dimension to the preparation in production.
And you said it's coming, so it's not really out yet.
No, exactly. We have a beta version out now,
okay.
And it will be released as a final solution later this year.
And if I would be a customer then, is it available all over the planet, or do we roll it out?
It's going to be rolled out in region by region, so to
Okay.
say, country by country, gradually out and finally globally.
And before you run the demo,
Sure.
is it something I buy, or do I subscribe to this service?
Well, I mean, cost and return on investment is
That's what I'm
always
thinking about.
is always an interesting theme, right? And with these majority of our softwares that within Coroplus are web-based,
Okay.
cloud-based solutions.
Yeah.
And there also we find kind of a low threshold of getting in touch with these solutions. So it's all about subscriptions.
And when you say cloud-based,
Yes.
is my data safe?
Yes, it is. And we'll actually get back to this.
Okay, good.
I think a bit later on when I show the demo as well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So then
We'll take you through the demo.
let's do a demo.
Yes.
I'm really looking forward to this.
Okay, Klaus, so let's take a look at Coroplus Machining Guide and what it does.
Great.
This is, again, the beta version. So there's a few things which we're still working on before the commercial release later this year.
Just so I get it right, you are doing this now live from the cloud?
This is a cloud-based version,
Okay.
connected. So a few of the features, takes time. It's downloading data.
Okay.
But we'll start by again, generating an automated operation plan. So we'll import a 3D model. And now it's downloading the 3D model. And the operation plan is kind of starting to work. It's analyzing the different features of the component, tracking, what type of angles and
Shapes
holes,
and
shapes,
pockets.
dimensions,
Okay.
and so forth are in. So this takes a minute or so. And as we'll progress here, now, as you can see, you can look at the different angles and then also adding whatever raw stock I have.
Okay.
It's quite fancy because I can either now choose, I got, a few millimeters of raw stock, and I can also import a 3D model of the raw stock material if it's a
Okay.
casting or forging. Right?
Okay, fantastic.
Right, so we click create, and now what you have seen is we're now looking at 32 faces of this component,
Okay.
and there's 4 holes on this component as well. So now it's identified the different steps, and I can open up and click at and see that I've got everything identified according to the plan. What I also can do then, from my machine shop, I can look at what machine do I want to test this component on.
That's
So
great.
virtually now, I can already select different machines and get an idea of the operation plans and the processes. I can also go in from our library of about 22,000 different materials that I can pick and choose from,
Wow.
industry standard.
Okay.
And I can also utilize the Sandvik Coromant library of machines, tools, but I can also import my own library of machines and
Okay,
tools.
that I have in my workshop.
Exactly. So whatever you have locally,
Okay.
they don't all have to be Sandvik Coromant
Okay.
neither. So it's more agnostic,
Okay.
which is great. Also then, so after this has been done, I'm happy with that. I look at some of the features here. I want to do a finishing application operation as well at the end. And I can also adjust some of the chip-to-chip time and some of the fixturing time as well. So I can not only get the process and operation plan for the machining, but also can also get an understanding of the non-cutting time parameters, which is really important to get an overview of the operation plan itself. So here now we're clicking on starting the planner. This again, as you say, this is a cloud-based solution.
Yep.
Again, it's a beta version out there. So this takes a bit of time. So what we'll do is we will just jump into one that has been done before on this component.
And while you're jumping around, just a
Sure,
might be a silly question, but
no problem.
cloud-based,
Yes.
is that really safe?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And again, we'll come back to that topic a little bit more
Okay,
with one of our coming partners, but we have ensured that the data uploaded here and utilized is, first of all, it's not of any risk of contamination because of the data security principles we have in the company, and again, the partners we have securing that data.
That's great.
Yeah. So again, coming back to the demo, now you can see on the left-hand side here the various operation plans, selected tools for this job, and you can click on, as an example, on a tool, and it visualizes what feature on the component we're machining, what tool has been selected in detail. I can also click on that tool, and I will be automatically transferred over to the tool area on the web as well. So I can see exactly what the tool is, add it to my cart as well for later purchases. And then I can, quite interesting, if I'm sitting there on an experience from the last job, I can customize this plan manually,
Okay.
go in and switch, okay, I want to do this a little bit different and so forth, depending on what my machine shop
If
looks
I
like.
come up with different timings and maybe utilize little
Exactly.
different tools,
Exactly.
I can put that
You
in.
can always go in and adjust the cutting time, speed parameters, feed parameters, and so forth. And then what I do at the end of it, basically, I can print out and save a documentation of the operation plan at hand when I have selected, because I will also be given some different operation plans. I can select 1, 2, or sometimes 3 different operation plans with different machining strategies. So when I'm happy with the one I picked here, I will get information about the machining time for the overall component.
Yep.
And populating machining cost and so forth, I will also get what it would cost to manufacture this. So this is a great asset for minimizing all that preparation that engineers and technicians are spending their time on, assessing how long it's going to take, what's it going to cost, and what operations, what tools and cutting data should I use for quoting new jobs, or when I'm sitting there doing the programming in my CAM software. This is a great help.
So it's really a time saver.
It is. It is. I mean, it's unique on the market, and it really takes another step at automation.
And when you say print everything, of course you can save it as a PDF. 'cause
Of course.
in our production, we're paperless. I mean, we
Yeah,
don't print
of course, of course. So you're saving this. You can send it to maybe your customer.
Okay.
This is how we're looking at the job at hand. This is the cost. This is how long it's going to take, depending on quantity of components. And again, I can use this for input to the CAM programming step, which usually comes after this.
This sounds absolutely fantastic.
Okay.
And I mean, it is a beta version, obviously.
Yes.
But if I would be interested in getting on board,
Yep.
how can I do it?
Yeah, I mean, the best thing is just visit sandvikcoromant.com.
Yeah.
And you can look for our digital solutions there and machining guide and sign up for a beta version right now. Test it out, see what you think, and also give us feedback.
Yeah.
And then when we're releasing it, which will be decided quite soon, it will be there for signing up for a subscription.
Fantastic. It sounds really, really helpful. And it's all about connecting not only the machines, but everything behind the scenes as well.
Exactly, exactly. So I mean, this really takes an account to support the preparation, ensure quality before you're actually machining the component in real life.
Great, Frances. So, how do we get this closer to the users?
Yeah, I mean, one really important part is, of course, integration of data, right? I mean, what the demo showed is really how we are integrating data from, into our software. With the years of experience of cutting, machining components in various materials and really emphasizing quality and cost and productivity, we're seeing that now integrated in our Core Plus offers to automate. The other way of automating, of course, as well, is integrating our data and knowledge into partner solutions to be able to get this accessible for many, many more users more efficiently without having to step in and out of different software solutions. So let's hand it over to Autodesk, one of our key partners.
Most design and manufacturing companies are struggling with tools that don't work together. The problem happens as each vendor is trying to solve one problem in a long chain of events and can't connect with others' data. That is, until now. Companies can manage, connect, and push 3D design data to the cloud, letting all the teams see the latest version and collaborate on next steps. There was a time where manufacturing meant dirty and hard-working labor. Today, even mom and pop shops have access to the latest high-tech equipment. With Fusion 360, we make it easier to program these complex machines and adding automation by letting the machine check and validate its own work. We are connecting manufacturing in ways never seen before. As our world is getting more connected, the tools we are using every day will be smarter. Bringing electronics into the design tool is new. Having it all in one place will help the entire design team. When the part design changes, your electronics also need to reflect those changes. There is a theme. Working in a connected environment has all the benefits versus a disconnected work process. But what about next week, next month, or next year? We are well into utilizing cloud computing today. We are already automating the design process. It is not difficult to have a computer design a futuristic flux capacitor, but at Autodesk, we are taking it one step further. Combining cloud computing and our leading knowledge of manufacturing with generative design, we are letting the cloud explore designs that manufacturing companies can make today, next week, and into the future. The value of a connected workflow has to be obvious. As companies are getting ready to make significant investment in upgrading, they will be looking for a solution that can take them through the design and manufacturing cycle in one continuous flow.
Okay, it's getting more and more clear to me what this is all about, the connected workshop. It's about seamless integration, it's about tools, it's about data, it's about getting all the bits and pieces together.
Exactly. Yeah.
Understanding more than just making chips.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So another way of doing it, should I say, this was the preparation part, and now we're getting closer into the machining.
Yes.
And, there as well, data from the source is key to have. If you have the data at your fingertips, it's much easier to make decisions, to start automating some of the machining sequences as well. And here we are picking up data from the cutting tools, sensors embedded in the cutting tools.
Directly in the machine.
Yes, exactly. And then process monitoring and process control is another way of emphasizing, understanding what's really happening from chip forming. If you're getting chip hammering problems, tool wear indications, vibrations, surface quality, and all that.
What about one thing? We have some issues sometimes with crashes.
Yes. Exactly.
Do we have a crash detection?
We do. We have an offer, looking at collision detection. This is really valuable when you're setting up different jobs again, right?
Yes.
If you program something incorrectly, instead of damaging the machine or component or tool, this will stop the machine within milliseconds.
So we're coming back again then to the green light machining.
Exactly.
I mean, avoiding the red light.
Exactly, and servicing and maintenance and these things,
yeah.
right? The other one is ToolGuard, which again looks into how to indicate where optimized tool usage and so forth.
And I think also actually I saw when I played around with one of those screens, there is a machine health inspector.
Exactly, exactly. This is a solution where we're again looking at service and maintenance intervals. But maybe getting back a little bit to the sensor embedded cutting tools. So here we are embedding, again, sensors in the cutting tools and integrating these solutions into the machine tools. So here again, we're working with machine tool partners in order to drive automation together. Okay, so let's hand it over to Matthias.
Welcome to a demonstration of Silentools Plus machine integrated functionality. We will demonstrate setting and reacting on load limits using the Core Plus connected machine interface. The system can automatically connect to the tool when it is selected for use and disconnect when it is finished. With Silentools Plus machine integrated, you have the possibility to specify load, vibration and temperature limits. The limits can be set and updated anytime, either manually or pre-programmed in the NC code. This gives you the possibility to easily set specific limits for different components and stages in the machining process. For this demonstration, the load is set from the NC code. The limit on the load tile is updated and the machine event log records a new entry to reflect the event. The Silentools Plus software will actively monitor the load while machining. If the load exceeds the specified limit, it immediately sends a load outside limit message to the machine. The corresponding reaction by the machine is fully customizable. Here, it's programmed to stop the process and quickly retract. In this last part of the demonstration, you can see the sequence of steps in real time. The machine response is customized to just retract a short distance and stop the process.
That was impressive from Trondheim, Norway. And cutting tools and machining tools working autonomously, that's really, really impressive.
It is. Yeah.
And coming back to where we all started our discussion a while ago, I mean, there are lots of things that actually can be done. Connecting things.
Exactly.
Working behind the scenes with automation.
Yes, exactly. So maybe we should go, as you said, go back to the beginning of where we started this discussion and some of the examples from our customers that I visited a year ago, and you know the pain points there. You know, so it's really important to again collect data from the machine tool, from again the cutting tools that we saw here, process monitoring, to build up as real picture as possible of the machining processes, understanding your downtime, overall efficiency rates, cycle times, but also if I had any problems like broken tools, you know, tool wear, you know, that red light again, you know, what and why does it happen, you know?
Is there a risk that I actually can collect too much data?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, again, cloud-based solution makes sure that we're collecting data, we're managing that in order to take decisions, helping operators understand what's happening, the technicians, the engineers, even the service technicians of what has happened and why. But again, coming back to data storage and security.
And the cloud.
And the cloud, exactly. That needs to be safe.
Yeah.
And for that reason, we're working very close to our partner Microsoft in order to ensure data storage, data security, and much more functionality.
And what a coincidence that you mentioned Microsoft, because I'm actually going to head back to the studio. But before doing that, thank you very much, Francis.
Thank you, Klaus.
You have really, really opened my eyes what this connectivity and the automation is all about. Yeah. So thanks a lot.
Thank you,
and
Klaus.
I'll head back to the studio.
Sure.
And in the studio, we're actually going to meet with Patrik Sjöstedt directly from Microsoft.
Indeed, we are. Thank you very much. You very much opened my eyes as well. Thank you very much, Francis and Klaus, for that. And indeed, we have a partnership, a strategic partnership with Microsoft. And let's connect digitally to Patrik to hear more about the partnership. Hi, Patrik. I'm really curious to know, why have you teamed up with Sandvik Coromant?
the partnership or the collaboration between Sandvik, the broader Sandvik Coromant, and Microsoft has been going on for quite some time. It started out as a more traditional supplier-customer relationship on the existing, traditional product portfolio of Microsoft. But as we got to know each other, as we started to work more, we zoomed in and started to have a much deeper collaboration. And for us at Microsoft, specifically working with Coromant, we have been able to work very closely with a very advanced industrial company, and that's helpful for us when we are developing new products. So, for example, we were working very closely with Sandvik on our first version of the IoT Edge solutions, which we use to connect to machines on the shop floor. And that's been a very fruitful collaboration, which now is a standard component. The second I would highlight is we've been working very closely on Power BI, on using Power BI on shop floor for workers on the shop floor, where Sandvik Coromant is a real power user. And we enjoy that collaboration very much, especially having Sandvik, in our booth at Hannover Messe a couple of years ago, and really promoting that solution, and really bringing a lot of good stories to our joint customers.
So you mentioned a fruitful collaboration there. How fruitful is this to our customers? How can they benefit?
We are bringing a very powerful combination to market, where we are, packaging up, if you will, the industrial experience, the machining experience of Sandvik into digital solutions that we then are bringing to market through the Microsoft ecosystem and technology. So that's kind of what we do in essence. But the value proposition that we can provide is, then I want to go back to what I said initially. This is about time to value. This is about accelerate digital transformation for our joint customers, Microsoft and Sandvik Coromant's customers. And what we can bring then is two market leaders with strong domain expertise on manufacturing and strong technology expertise, and we're bringing that to market. And the promise we can do then as a joint partnership is to deliver value and high impact and very quickly. So that's the offer here, that we will be able to solve problems or improve manufacturing processes jointly in a very fast and scalable way.
Okay, thank you very much. Very much looking forward to following that collaboration as well. So we've now focused a bit on the partnership. We focused on the big picture, and we've heard from Francis and Claes. But I would love to hear from one of our customers. So we actually have a customer testimonial from one of our customers in Canada. They're called OSI Precision, and they work a lot with turnkey solutions, but they also work very much with complex machining of complex parts. So let's hear from them and Hubert Breton.
What we do is we have a machine shop, and we also make woodworking equipment. We didn't know what our OEE was. That was a big thing. We had no visibility on stoppage causes in the plant. It was hard to precisely evaluate job runtime and delivery dates because of that. And finally, we didn't have any data to fuel our efficiency improvement efforts. The first thing is, if you start data collection early, you'll get that history early, and then you can go back later to that data. Also, without data, it is difficult to start any continuous improvement efforts. For us, data analysis is the starting point, really. So otherwise, everything is based on feeling, and it's all very subjective. The recording of machine signals and stoppage causes for each of our work cells will help us make targeted improvements short term. That being said, with the advance of new technologies such as AI and automation, we firmly believe that data-driven companies are setting themselves up for success in the future as well. We think Sandvik Machining Insights will be an enabler for other technologies down the road.
Thank you very much, Hubert, for sharing your thoughts on that. We're back in the studio together with Francis, Claes, and Magnus for the Q&A session. We don't have super much time, but you still have time to submit your questions. So please don't hesitate to put them into the chat. All right, we have a lot of questions that have come in. So if we keep the answers short, we have more time for a lot of questions. For example, one question that has come in, is only Sandvik Coromant tools available in the software, Francis?
In Machining Guide, you can download or upload, should I say, any software from your tool library, which means any brand of tool.
Someone wants to know about if we walk the talk. Have we implemented some of the softwares that you spoke about in our production? Claes, you work in GMO. Do we have it there?
Absolutely. We have 24 production units worldwide, and Machining Insights is implemented. We have Coroplus Process Control implemented. And of course, we walk the talk. And of course, we implement the software at our own production. It's a great place to test things.
Indeed, it's a good test bed, so you get quick and instant feedback sending it to the Francis team. Yes. So, does Machining Guide also take into consideration batch sizes?
Yes, you can customize and put in your own data, so you get the time and cost analysis made on your batch size.
Magnus, a question to you. I'm curious. We heard about Patrick from Microsoft, why they wanted to team up with us. You spoke about the importance of partnerships and ecosystems. Why did we want to team up with them?
I think Patrick covered quite a lot of it. You know, we've been on a journey together. It was a supplier-customer relationship to start with. Then we ventured down the road on exploring edge computing use cases, which was the start or springboard for something more. And today, the partnership for us, it brings us a really valuable technology partner. And of course, it's much more multifaceted today. Not only are we looking at the specific use cases, but also how can we enhance and move our operations forward, as well as taking new products to market. And I think you and Claes already mentioned, since we also operate in the industry that we serve, we have a fantastic opportunity to test it out in our own operations.
Thank you. What milling processes can be seen in the tool? Drilling, milling, what can we offer?
In Machining Guide, I presume, and yes, it's mainly focusing on 3-axis machining, 4-axis machining. So we're talking about machining centers. So any tool in that process, drilling, milling, and boring.
Software, is it working for grinding? Is the question that has come in?
Not Machining Guide software, no. It's more for the metal cutting process, yes.
Good, thank you.
Just adding, it will, other machine types and applications will be added iteratively in the software.
So stay tuned for that one. Exactly. Can I design my own tool and implement it into the Machining Guide?
Yes, as long as you put and built the assembly in and added it to your tool library, containing, you know, an adapter, so to say, and a cutting tool at the front end, inserts, you can, upload it into Machining Guide.
Good. I wanna have two quick questions here. Is it compatible with any CNC control?
It doesn't generate the NC code. What it does, it develops the operation plan, and using that in your CAM software or on the shop floor by the machine, programming.
Okay, good. And the last question, someone wants to know to actually have the beta version of it. And of course, that's possible. If you have a look in the chat, you can actually see the address, Sandvik Coromant events @sandvik.com. So if you email us that, we will make sure to submit the link. So Sandvik Coromant event @sandvik.com, and you will, of course, get access to the beta version. So thank you very much, gentlemen, for the questions, and thank you very much to the audience for sending them in. Claes, we're at the end of the third event, but after third comes the fourth, right?
Of course. After number 3, we have number 4. And the fourth Inside Manufacturing event is all about turning, steel turning. And we're going to talk a lot about innovation and that innovation never stops. We will, of course, once again, touch base with manufacturing trends. We're going to come back to automation. We will, of course, cover the very important subject, sustainability. And we're going to talk about clean steel.
This is an event you definitely don't want to miss. So please make sure to mark it already now in your calendars, because it's going to take place on the 27th of May. With that said, we of course want to have more of your feedback.
Yes, absolutely. Feedback is really, really important for us. So if you can take a minute or two, pull up your phone, scan the QR code on your screen, you will come to our feedback form. And we really, really want that feedback, because the reason is we want to make these events even better. So please give us positive and, of course, negative feedback. From that we can learn, and from that we can evolve, and we can make these events much, much better. Having that said, I think I have to say thank you very much for tuning in.
Thank you. It's been great having you here. So thank you so much for taking of your valuable time to join us here at Sandvik Coromant. I hope that you really felt that it was well invested 45 minutes. And with that said, hope to see you on the 27th of May. Thank you very much, and bye-bye from Sandviken.